Uh, Today I will be giving my views on a proposal which the Government of India and the Ministry of Defence especially is considering, uh, which is called the Tour of Duty, or a name given to that, Agnipath. It entails young motivated lads from the society joining up the armed forces for a short tenure of just 3 years. This would get the lower rank vacancies filled up, as well as give a well trained, ready, motivated cadre available to the government, to the central armed forces, police forces, and the industries after the 3 years that this soldier will complete. This Agnipath tour of duty, and the soldiers are going to be called Agniveers, is aimed at creating this cadre to lessen the burden of units and fill in the vacancies which are existing today. Now, while we are considering this, we need to be firstly very clear that this tour of duty scheme is going to be for soldiers and not for officers. We already have the short service commission scheme for the officers. So this Agnipath is going to be only for soldier level entry. Now, there are certain points which we need to consider before we think of implementing this scheme, and that is why I thought I would share my views on this. The first thing is that this scheme is only for 3 years. Now, when a soldier is recruited, he undergoes 2 types of training before he is posted to the units or the regiments. The first is a basic soldiers training, which is almost for a year, and then he has about 6 to 8 months of training specialized in the arm or service that he goes to, or he is going to go to. For example, the armored corps or the artillery or engineers or infantry and all these arms and services, they require specialized training for that soldier after his basic training to qualify the requirements of the unit. So, out of the 3 years proposed, about a year and a half is taken up by training. We only have a year and a half left when the soldier would report to the units. And then we have specific training in the units by the soldier to form part of a cohesive unit. He needs to be trained on the specific equipment which is there in the unit. It could be tanks, it could be artillery guns, it could be mechanized infantry combat vehicles, and such kind of things. So a soldier needs to mesh in with his team, especially for crew served weapons like we have the tanks or the mobile artillery and the mobile infantry combat vehicles and such kind of things. We require the crew to be totally trustworthy, totally be in sync, and be able to function as a one whole. Now, for that, sustained training is required in the unit as well as in the field. You go out for exercises, you go out for field firing, you go out for maneuvers, and you actually end up creating a very well structured team, and that takes time. And that soldier has got just a year and a half. At the end of the year and a half, and that brings me to my second point, that soldier would be leaving, and therefore his own mates who are regular soldiers, the officers, the junior commissioned officers, would all know that this is the batch of soldiers which is going to just leave after 1.5 years. Now, some of them, and it is being considered that some of them may be considered for a prolonged period of tenure, but very few. Bulk of them would be leaving after 1.5 years. They will not get promotions, they will not be getting pensions, and they would probably be getting a golden handshake kind of a sort, a one-time payout when they are leaving after 1.5 years. Now, all this considered brings me to the next point, is what will be the motivation for a young lad at 16 to 18 years of age to join up as a soldier, when he knows that by, even if he is joining a little late, say about 20s, by 23 he's out. Imagine he's retiring at 23 without pension, with just a payout. It is said that they would be given cross lateral absorption in government jobs and the central police forces and such avenues. May not be all. Some may be picked up by the industries. But what happens to the bulk of them? Will they really be getting absorbed? That's a big question mark as yet, because we don't know how it is going to play out in the future. So you will have a trained workforce at 25, 26 years out of the service, waiting to get some jobs here and there. Will that be motivation enough for these people to go and do this tour of duty? It's a matter to be considered. The next point is about the load on the units. Now within the units there is likely to be a kind of an apartheid. The regular soldier cadre who knows that they're going to get promotions, they will become the non-commissioned officers and the junior commissioned officers. And there is this lot which they themselves know and the rest of the unit also knows that 1.5 years and they're out. Now that is going to create a little apartheid kind of a situation within the unit, and that the commanders will need to be very, very careful in ensuring that that kind of a situation doesn't arise. At the same time, there will be an extra workload on the clerks and the office staff in the units. A complete different set of documentations will have to be maintained for these tour of duty Agnipath or Agniveers, as the soldiers are going to be called. Now that will entail a little extra load on the units. A fighting unit having to do this extra kind of work is going to, affect its efficiency. And in the end, what I wanted to actually bring out, that every commander strives to maintain a very cohesive kind of a unit. And that cohesion means a lot in a war situation or in a battle situation. It has to be automatic. You need to exactly know what the other fellow is thinking. And that comes with experience. That comes with working together for a long kind of a time. That comes with building a team over a period of time, which is going to get hampered with the Agniveers going out at 1.5 years. Now it's a very complex level of lower strata in a unit which will be looked at, and especially junior officers who will be handling these people will have a task on their hands to ensure that they are meshed in and they function properly. So these are the kind of points which I thought are pertinent to look at from a unit point of view before a decision is taken on implementing the Agnipath tour of duty scheme and getting these Agniveers to come in and serve the armed forces. The plus point is, yes, you will have a larger, younger strata cadre. The vacancies which are presently existing because of the ban of recruitment during the COVID pandemic will get filled up. And as has been proven in the Kargil operations, that we had the younger lot, the officers and the men with about 2 to 5 years service were the people who actually performed miracles during that operation. So you would have that kind of a strata coming in. But we should not have it at the cost of all the other points which I mentioned before. Thank you very much. Namaste and Jai Hind.